Welcome to The Mix, a fusion dance podcast where we dive into the world of blending dances and all that comes with it. We're talking about everything from the highs of nailing that perfect combo to the lows, emotional, and mental challenges and more. And if you're new to the dance scene, don't worry, we've got you covered with practical tips to help get you started, feel comfortable, and most importantly, have fun. So come on in. We can't wait to dance with you. Dance cliques. Blech.
Blech.
That's what we're talking about today.
Wakadela.
Because it kind of, it's sad though, because in the beginning when I was naive and bright-eyed, I didn't see it yet. And then I saw it. After a couple socials, or even the first two socials, you're kind of like, oh, they're all kind of standing in corners on the side in clusters. But I think a lot of it also has to do with body language, right? When you see someone, you kind of, more inclusive people naturally open up their body language and they include them in the conversation. So you could be a group of friends, but still be inclusive, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like cliques are the what's that word? Antithesis and antithesis of community.
Yep.
Of building community. In Tango, someone was telling me how you say no by if so, like you look at me and I look away, that means no, I don't want to dance with you.
Okay.
Yeah, I wish that happens in all dance scenes though, because I think it would make it easier. I know at the same time it's, you know, you're supposed to be able to speak your needs, your wants and stuff like that. But it would be really nice when you could just look at someone or they look at you and you just politely look away and move on to someone else, you know? So that would be a nice
just turn
experiment.
Completely around. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Oh, no, that's
if you're a follower listening in and you see Kaylin the next dance social,
oh my gosh,
please walk away from him.
Just turn completely around. Don't say anything. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, I'm never dancing with them again. I will never ask. No conversation. They're on the black. No. That's bad. Look, I'm sensitive. I can't help it. That's not. I can help it.
Like you walk into the room and everyone's back faces towards you. That'd be a funny prank.
That would be a nightmare. That would be.
That'd be funny if that happened to you, and then you see me in the corner like busting out laughing. You'd be like, "Trying to have something to do with this." So I'd be like, "No, not at all, not at all." Happy birthday.
Right. I'm like, I'm just gonna go in the car real quick. I need to get something. You know, I come back, my eyes are like puffy and everything. I'm like, no, it's my allergies. I promise. Like, it's June. What do you mean allergies? I'm like, yeah, no, I'm allergic to everything.
I'm dying.
Like emotions. Oh.
I think I'm just laughing so hard because I have the visual imagery in my head right now. Like you're like, I'm ready to dance. This is a great song.
Wow, I genuinely, that would be a nightmare. Like, what? You imagine going to a social and no one wants to dance. Everyone is just boom, they just turn. Like,
or imagine going to a social and someone is dancing with you and pranking you, like I did with you last time, and pretend I didn't know how to dance, and it was a song that you loved.
All right, y'all. So here's the thing. Let's just do a little quick story time, right? So we're at a social. I won't say the name, right? But we're at a social, and they play bachata. And here's the thing. They don't this doesn't happen. Okay. This is not a thing that happens unless there's like it's Latin night or we have someone teaching it. So when they play a bachata, I'm like, I need to dance this with someone who is familiar with bachata. And it's like fusion. So not only is it bachata, but it's bachata and I can do other things to it. And so immediately I'm like, oh, it's a no-brainer. I'm gonna ask Trang. I go over to Trang, and Trang is just like, there's this look on her face, this like look of just absolute like shenanigans. And I'm like, man, I know she's not. So we start trying to dance. I'm like, I know she's not gonna, and the whole time she's just like intentionally like she'll like intentionally sag away or like just like not turn or I'm just like, what are you doing? And I knew what she was doing because she had been doing this, right? Like this is a thing, you know. Sometimes Trang is up to no good, and wants to prank the good people of the dance scene, And I'm like, we can't do now of all time. Like you could have done it any other song, but this one.
You were like, Drake, no,
no, we can't.
This is bachata.
This is bachata. It's bachata. What do you mean? No, it was a very, very emotional, like 15 to 20 seconds. Yeah, it was there. We figured it out. We got there. We got there at the end. But yeah,
Oh, it was so funny watching the leads that I pranked that day, that
yeah,
evening.
that was
You saw their faces being like, what is going on? Why is Chang like I was trying to do the wet noodle arm where there's no connection, and then I was trying to do the arm where I tensed up
yeah,
and you
yeah,
could
yeah.
barely move me, or you would have to like really move me to get me turning.
What's it? The dry? Is it the dry noodle arms? Is that what that would be? Like if the noodles are
Oh
dry,
yeah.
does that work? Is that? I
Yeah.
don't know. That's a great
Uncooked
one.
noodle arms.
Uncooked noodle
Yeah. Or
arms,
just like an arm of steel. Just
raw noodle arms, just just like nothing.
robot arms. There you
It
go.
was robot arms. It was the funniest thing because like you'd see their faces and you could see like they'd have these moments of like, okay, maybe it's me. Like they're just like, am I not leading this well? And so they would try different things. Like you could see, there was one person in particular, and if you're watching, what's up, sir? How you doing? And you would see, you could see his face like he's like, I'm gonna try something else. So he tried like 3 or 4 different different holds, different positions, like hand wise to be like, maybe it's me. He went like open, close. He's like, okay, let me try to change my hands to here. Maybe you could see him just like running through like, what is happening? Like trying to figure out this puzzle. And then you'd see like they would move and then Trang's face would be there and she's just like
I broke character too soon. Oh, and bust out laughing.
that was that was
That
funny.
was
That was
hilarious. But
funny.
he's like, I thought it was me. I thought maybe it's been a minute. It's been a minute since I danced with you. Yeah.
That was
That
good.
was
That was good.
that was good. That was good early April Fool's jokes. April
The
Fool's like four
safe,
months before. Yeah.
wholesome prank. No one got hurt. You know what I'm saying? No one, nothing was broken. You know what I'm saying? It's good. It's good. Solid stuff.
Drama, they're traumatized. Do I suck?
Yeah, no, low key though, that I feel like because if you never like explain that this was a joke, you just did that for sure. And then oh, even worse is like you go and you have a great dance with someone else. They're gonna be like, oh, that was me. I'm garbage. Like I am a menace and I shouldn't do because at least for me as a lead, I'm gonna take it like it was me. It was for sure me. I don't know how. I don't know what. I messed that up. Like I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna internalize it, and I'm
The
just like,
worst is maybe the worst. Another thing to extend that prank is then I'll be like, "Oh, do you want to try another dance?" And maybe the lead would be like, "Okay, maybe this dance would be better," and and then I act even worse and dance even worse.
no. That'd be so. Oh my gosh, that'd be so bad. That'd be so bad.
It's so
Like,
terrible. We're telling people
oh,
our ideas for pranking.
this wasn't for the record. This wasn't the intent for this episode.
No, it wasn't.
I love that. I love that this is the direction that we're going though.
Yeah. Um,
Pranks for the
yeah, so
dance
yeah.
floor.
Or I guess the people listening will know and be like, try and stop it. I know what you're doing. And I'll be like, okay, fine, I have to find you lead to prank.
That's true. Yeah, we just got to start going to different scenes. We're gonna just travel and prank people.
Me and be like, yeah, we're from like Colorado. They'd be like, oh, I think this was someone that was
That's
stuck in
crazy.
Colorado. But really, we're in LA.
We're gonna give Colorado a terrible. That's
Yeah.
awful. Oh,
We're
we're
we're from
sorry,
Virginia. We're
Colorado.
from Pennsylvania, you know? And they'd be like, yeah, I met some dancers from the States and they sucked. They were awful.
Like those PA people are garbage. For the record, I actually am from Pennsylvania, so shout out PA. We love you,
Mm,
PA. Boom boom.
yeah.
I am PA. Anyways,
Wow, we could
um,
really give bad PR and
we
like
should not. We
representation.
shouldn't do that. That would be bad.
Represent.
That would do so much damage to LA. They'd be like, those LA people are liars. They're up to no good. They trash
I
other
knew
dance
I
scenes.
knew LA people are fake. Oh my God.
Oh, okay. So what was the subject for today? What's the
Oh yeah,
topic
no,
for
we didn't even
today?
finish the quick topic I want to talk about, but like, ways to say no to a dance. Where like what have you used? I really have a hard time saying no to a dance. And I think and it's not usually like, oh, I don't like you as a person. I feel like some people may take it that way, but sometimes I prefer not to dance with someone to especially to certain songs because I'm like, this is not my style. I personally am not a micro person. I'm more of a macro or I tend to lean towards upbeat music.
Yeah,
I mean, I could do slow songs, but I would go contemporary more instead of micro, right?
yeah,
So it's kind of like, how do you say no to someone and be like, it's not you exactly. It's more like
mhm,
you right now want a burger, but right now I want a taco,
yeah.
So what are answers you prefer to hear from followers, where you don't feel like your feelings are hurt?
Oh yeah. Well, I am sensitive, but I definitely prefer an honest answer over like anything else. Like if you don't want to dance to a song, or you're just like, oh, I don't want to dance with this. Like I don't want to. I want a burger, and you're offering sushi or something. Like, yeah, just like, yeah, just tell me that. I don't take it personally. I'm like, oh, okay, like, cool. Thank you for telling me. Thank you for letting me know. Now I know when, like maybe it's a more upbeat song and I like the energy. I'm like, oh, I want to go. Like, I want to go. And maybe that's not, something that someone wants. They want a more, slower or smoother or, chill vibe. Like, okay, cool. I think it's easier when it's someone that you have like rapport with because you can kind of like, especially if it's someone like, for example, like if like you and I, like there were songs where I was like, oh, like you want to try this one? You're like, no, I'm not really feeling this one. I'm like, okay, cool. Boom. I don't take it personal because I'm like, oh,
Yes.
I know Train doesn't hate me. She just doesn't want to dance to the song. I'm gonna go dance with someone who wants to dance with the song.
And then you see me
You
go
know?
off dancing with someone else.
And I'm just like, what? Like, no, like, no, 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 no. I mean, I do think that like sometimes you have people that you want to dance certain songs with, like,
Yes.
and you're
Yes.
like there are some vibes where I'm like, oh, I don't want to dance this song with them, but I do want to dance with them, just like a different type of like a different kind of song. And I think it's okay to like, it's okay to have preferences. It's definitely not an issue to have a preference and to say like, oh, I don't want to like no one hear me on this. No lead, no follow, no person who switches. Like no one is obligated to do anything with you that they don't want to do. And even if you feel like there is some kind of pressure to like dance with someone, you can say no and you don't have to say anything else beyond that. Now, if you decide to give them an answer, that's a courtesy, but your no is enough. And like anybody out here, if you feel like you're not empowered to say no, you can say no. You know what I'm saying? Like just like that, and that's enough. Like, no, you can say no, thank you if you want to, right? But your no is enough. Let That's it. That being said, I do think and I've had some songs where I was like, "Oh, I don't wanna dance this song," or "I don't wanna dance" like, I wanna dance at a certain, like, level, like, I want an energy to it, like, I want someone who's gonna, like, move to it, and, like, I was like, "No, no, thank you," or "I'm looking for someone for this song," I like, as an answer, and I try to make it a point to find that person later, especially so that they don't feel like I was just saying no because I don't like them or something,
They
you
find
know?
you in the bathroom.
That's just like like, "Yeah, what was all that talk? What was all that talk? You said no? Oh, okay, come see me then," right? Like, no, but yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I think as long as you're just being really clear about your expectations or what you want or what you need, um, yeah, I mean, you're definitely allowed to say no.
Yeah. I've watched some or overheard some followers be like, "Oh, I'm good for now."
Mhm. Yeah,
Or I'm sitting this one out, but then
yeah.
you have to actually sit this one out. Or I'm gonna
Yeah,
pass
that
for
was
now.
yeah.
I'm gonna pass for now. Because I think in a way they are lighter, like softer versions of just like, no,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I've seen people feel rejected. Like, no, I can see people's faces and I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, I feel so bad for them, when you see it happen sometimes. But yeah, and this is why it brings me back to tango. I wish you can just look away and be like, okay.
Yeah, no, that one actually that one I think is good to have both the verbal and the nonverbal and being able to like know the nonverbal cues. And I think an easy cue is they don't they don't match your eye contact. Like if people typically if they want to dance, they'll look and then they'll sometimes I'll do like a
Oh
little
yeah, like the, hey, you wanna
like you wanna
go? And then I
right?
rejected you because I was like, nah, this was it. I
Yeah.
remember, yeah, the last dance social, you were like, "Do you want to?" And I remember listening for 5 seconds of song. I was like, "No, not this one. I'm not feeling it with
Mhm,
you for this one." And I mean, it does help that when you're kind of like friends,
mhm,
you're just like, "All right, see ya, bye."
mhm, like,
Move on to another person that
man.
you think yeah.
Mhm.
But then when there's songs, I'll be like, Can, where are you?" You're with someone. I'm like, "Ugh."
I think though, I do think that like that's another reason why it's good to like have people that you like to kind of have like a I won't say like a list per se, but like oh, I want to dance with this person to this kind of song and this person to that kind of
Yeah.
song.
There's I feel like everyone kind of has like a little spice or style to
Mhm.
them. And so,
Yeah.
there's some like you and I tend to do Latin songs or rhythm songs usually,
Mhm.
and only a few people I notice can dance to that type of rhythm.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously anyone can fuse however they want.
Yeah.
You can play a salsa song and dance contemporary, but sometimes I'm like,
True. You could do that. You could do that.
that
It
would be a
has
very
been
interesting.
done.
We should do like a dance challenge and be like, okay, go
Yeah.
contemporary with this. Um,
That's
but there's some songs where I kind of have maybe like a vision for a feel of what I want
mhm.
and be like, okay, I know this person, it's their background, or maybe they know how to fake it
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
move to that rhythm. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'll also say too, like I think even though yeah, we all have our like we have our preferences, we have our, things that we want. It is okay to go outside of that and to challenge yourself a little bit. Like I remember dancing with someone who I've been on both sides of this, right? Where there was a song I really wanted to dance with someone to, and they did not like they you could tell they did not want the song. They were just like, I'm not feeling it at all. And I was like, okay, like I'm not gonna push. But I was like, I would love to dance this song with you in particular and everything. And they were like, you know what? Okay, we'll try it. And we had a great dance. Like it was like they were like, you know what? I'm glad I said yes. Because it was like,
Were they
mm,
not feeling the song, or were they just like, this isn't my kind of like my
mhm.
specialty?
They weren't feeling the song, but they also weren't really feeling the set because they were kind of like I think their expectations for that set were different, and I think they wanted more kind of like dramatic and like deep,
Moody.
moody,
Hmm.
yeah. And it was a lot more. It was kind of like a lot more pop, but
Got it.
because it was a song I knew, I was like, oh, I have a specific
I know how
idea
to
for this
work with
song.
it.
Like I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, just trust me, like just trust me, please, please, please. And
You know
I'm
what?
thankful they did.
I
Yeah.
was like, was that me you were asking? No, because I've done that to someone where I
Nah.
was like, man, this DJ set is kind of flat. And I could tell
Yeah.
because there are people that normally would be dancing hard out,
Mhm.
like full out. They were standing on the sidelines with me too. And
Mm,
that's when I'm like, oh no, oh no. I'm not the only one
yeah,
feeling it, other
yeah.
people are too.
Mhm.
And
I think
then
it was like a set that, like, I loved the set, but I also was like, "Oh, I don't think everyone's gonna not gonna be a fan of this." Like, some people are not gonna I am personally, but that's because 'cause I'm like, "Oh, this is music that, like, I listen to." Like, it was some of it was, like,
yes.
throwbacks and stuff. I was like, "Oh, this is
Mhm.
all, like, my era, though." So, like, I like it. Like, they had, like, a Beyoncé song, I think it was, like, a A. Marie and this it was, like,
Yeah.
R&B and, like, this. I was like, "Yeah, okay, I want this. I'm good here." But some people are like, "I don't know this music," or, "I don't know how to dance. I don't know how to approach this music. Like,
Right.
I don't know what this is."
Yeah. Yeah. So I had a lead actually just take my hand and be like, let's just go. Like, cause I think he saw my face
Mhm.
and he's like, oh, let's go. And I was like, oh, as we were dancing, I was like, oh yeah. Like, thank you for showing me that you can work this dance,
Mhm, mhm,
And it's kind of like me being too judgmental of maybe a song and being like, oh, this isn't versatile enough.
mhm.
But to be fair, there are quite a few people standing on the sidelines. So I feel
Yeah.
like as a DJ, I would kind of look out for that and be like, oh,
Mm,
maybe I should maybe change my set.
mhm.
But doesn't happen too often, but sometimes it does. Okay, so what we originally came to talk about for this
Oh, yeah.
episode
Oh, yeah, huh?
was dance clicks
Welcome to the
and
show.
yeah, so dance
I'm
clicks
Kaylin. That's Trey, right?
hi, 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 hi.
Yeah, that's Netflix.
Yeah, not feeling welcomed. Blech.
Yeah. Blech.
Yeah, I think just as humans, we always want to feel welcomed, especially in a new place, new space. And if we're going by ourselves, you and I are the type we go by ourselves. I feel like with humanity, if you don't feel a sense of belonging in general, it's one of the main reasons why there might be anger, pain, the feeling of rejection, and eventually that
Mhm,
leads to violence.
mhm,
And like that violence can stem from that, right? Well, like
mhm,
we don't think of that. We just think like violence is like terrible, home conditions, everything. But if
mhm.
you find purpose and community, you probably won't get into as much trouble, or you have someone to support you, and I think the world could use a lot of comfort and warmth right now,
Mhm, mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
And it's hard though, because if you're an a-hole, I don't know what to do with you.
Mm,
I would be like, yeah, sure, welcome to community, but stop being an a-hole. But I
yeah.
think that it just makes me think about like why is inclusivity so important? Because I feel like it's a word that's thrown around a lot, but I don't think people see the importance, like the ripple effect that it
Yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
create, right? Yeah.
I mean, we're social creatures, and I think even when, don't quote me on this, but maybe look it up on the, like, APA website, like, American Psychology Association or something, but, like, the pain of rejection, like, social rejection
Yeah.
is it feels like your brain registers it in the same way that you would physical pain, because it hurts that deep, like it cuts that deep, right? Like that feeling of not belonging or having your reputation tarnished or being in a place and being just rejected and pushed away. Like it hurts. It actually hurts. And I think it's a reason why even when you talk about like not just like romantic relationships, but even friendships ending, like those things can be really hurtful. They can be really painful because those bonds matter to us. Like we're wired to care about people and we're wired to feel belonging. And so when we don't feel belonging, when we don't feel like we're a part of something, there is that like that lingering resentment or that place where anger or rejection can seep in. And yeah, like even I'd say even people who are a-holes, like even they want to be rejected, but sometimes I think, or not rejected, sorry, they want to be accepted, but they'll pre-reject themselves by like it's almost like at least in a lot of my
I'll
experience.
reject you
Yes.
before you can hurt and reject
Yep,
me back. People
exactly
do that in
that.
relationships a lot. This
Yeah.
is turning into a relationship
Look,
podcast, I feel like.
look, we're here. We're here. All right. That's what it is. All dancing is a medium for relationship. It's the physical manifestation of the all right, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
No, but for real, it's true. Like
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
I'm gonna reject you before you can hurt and reject me as
Yeah.
defense mechanism.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I think like what do you think creates a perfect petri dish condition for a social dance place to be exclusive or to feel exclusive to someone coming in?
Cliques. I think that when you have you know what? Okay. So I always point towards the leadership because I think the leadership is they are the starter for any culture.
Well, it's like management in a company.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. And like whether this is like a dance event or a group or a Bible study or a church or like whatever, like I'm always going to look towards who are the leaders or who are the initiators. Because it's not just when I say leaders, I don't just mean the people at the top, but I mean the people who are like the people who are moving things and progressing things forward. Because like those are the people who will influence the culture. They're the ones who will kind of whatever values they hold, they're going to allow or prevent certain things from happening within that group. And so if you have people who are really outgoing or really kind or they value inclusivity or acceptance, like if people who value things, like that's what they're gonna shape the culture towards. That's what they're gonna shape the group towards. Versus others who maybe they have a sense of entitlement or they have a sense of they only want to do this for themselves or for their friends or people that they deem worthy. They're going to look at it different. They're going to I remember having this conversation with a friend of mine who I won't say what dance community he's part of, but I will say that they are somewhat notorious for being clicky. And the way that he talked about it, he was like, when people are, kind of new coming to the dance scene, this whole thing is like, well, I'm here for me. This is like I want to get something out of this. I'm here because this is for me. And the other side of the conversation was how it's like that scene in that area wasn't really growing. And I'm like, well, it's not growing because new people will come in and they don't feel like they fit in. And these people who are good, people who are at the top, so to speak, are making them feel like they're not good enough to be there. And that doesn't make them want to sign up
Oof.
for classes. It doesn't make them want to stick around. It doesn't make them want to say, "Wow, I want this." All you're doing is telling them you're not good enough to enter this, and until you get better, you can't sit with us. But like they don't want to sit with you because they don't feel like you like them. So they don't want to stick around long enough to even get better to approach your throne. You know.
It's kind of like very terrible hospitality and customer service for a business, right?
Hmm.
Where like let's say hospitality, like hotels and stuff like that.
Hmm.
If you're not going to be greeted in a kind way, feel welcome, and they're just like, "Here are your keys, go." Well, that stuff. Like most people, there's people that are gonna be budget conscious. They're like, "I'm gonna go here because it's cheap," right? But there's people gonna be like, a lot of people are gonna go like, "No, I'm willing to go somewhere else, go to another chain because at least I feel more at ease. I feel welcomed. The part where they transition me to my room is a really wonderful experience. There's a reason why they have 5 stars, and that's how it translates here. I remember going to a dance social for the first time and I didn't know this guy. He just said, "Do you want to dance?" And I said, "Yeah." And I remember thinking, "Wow, this guy's really good. I wish like everyone could dance like him." And it was like months and months later when I kept going back to social that I found out that he was the one that runs it. And he probably saw me as a new
Wow.
face and I was like,
Yeah.
wow, he also competes. That's probably why he's also really good too.
Mhm.
But I
Yeah.
remember thinking like, wow, all I remembered was not him being like, oh, he's an advanced person and like competes and probably has like trophies or whatever. But I remember just him making me feel welcomed and not feel like you can feel the vibe when someone dances better than you, but they also think they're better than you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh, oh, yeah. But it just felt he honestly to me, it felt like he just came from shopping or like running errands and just came,
Mhm,
swung through and
mhm.
was just dancing. That's what it
Yeah,
felt like.
yeah.
And I remember I'll always remember that, you know? And that's like a perfect example of someone being really inclusive. And
Mhm.
I think another thing is okay, so I want to dig deep in about the subconscious part of it because this, there's clicks at work as well, especially when you work with like executives or higher ups and stuff like that. There's always like a hierarchy. I think when there's competition in a dance space, there's people that go to conventions and compete and all that kind of stuff. I think that also is another factor that creates the culture of clickiness of because in fusion, I don't at least in LA, I don't feel it's as clicky or really clicky because there's not we're not competing. Like everyone
Yeah,
comes to just social dance,
yeah,
whereas other ones like salsa, swing, and all that stuff, there is the cliques kind of form because they're gonna just some people just stick with just the people that compete and they're gonna
yeah, yeah.
practice in the corner with the people that just compete and they don't feel like I remember someone saying like, "Ah, I feel weird if I try to penetrate that bubble or even insert myself and be like, hi, do you guys want to dance with me? Because
Yeah,
it's like the elite advanced dancers in that corner. And you can tell
yeah.
the look they give you, because they're smiling, dancing with each other. And then when they dance with you, it's
They're
either a
like,
bored look or they're just like, oh, okay, sure, I'll dance with you,
mhm,
like, sure,
yeah.
and you can feel that. And it just
Oof.
not gonna lie, I went to a dance social and they weren't there one evening and it felt glorious. But it's sad that like people's vibes can really energy can affect
Yeah.
the vibe of a space.
Mhm.
But anyways, back to my point is I was thinking about it because this happens in the workplace. I think that sometimes people are very clicky because they might feel superior. This is the one place in their life they feel superior because in
Ooh.
other areas of their life they feel disempowered or powerless
Mm,
or beneath other people.
mhm. Yeah, wow. Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what? I think that that's I mean, yeah, no, I think that that's, wow. That's good. No, that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
That's
because
good.
okay, so I used to work at Disney, right? And these executives, they have technically a lot of power in the office, but once they leave the building and they go to Trader Joe's, no one would care about who you are. You look like just another person, maybe in a business suit, but everyone's in a business suit, after work sometimes. People are going to treat you like, "Oh my gosh, let me do things for you, all that stuff. Let me get this done for you at once you step out of the building."
Yeah.
But once if you stay all
Wow.
day in the building,
Mhm.
long hours and stuff, but your title is amazing or you're known as um oh, yeah, just a
Yeah.
nice fancy title
Mhm.
attached with it, like a perception of power.
Yeah, like you're royalty in the castle, but outside of that, nobody
You
they're
look
like,
like another
who are
dude,
you?
Joe
Like,
Schmo.
who are you? Like, we
You
don't
look
know
like a
you."
peasant,
Like like,
a
you look like a
plebeian.
peasant,
You
you
look like a
dress like a
plebeian.
joker, all right? Like, you came out here looking like the horse pulling the carriage. Like, no, let me stop. All right, we're done. Let me stop. No, I think that's super
Yeah.
good. Yeah, no, it definitely is. And I think that there is this, I think like people will do this thing where they will treat people the way that they felt when they were in that position. Like most people model certain behavior and like when they were maybe they were new or they weren't super good, if they don't make an intention to change that and to be different, when they get in that position, they'll just model what they were given, where someone who was up here looked down on them. And so they're just repeating that cycle. That phrase, I think the phrase is like hurt people, right? Like
Yes.
take that,
Yeah.
you
Like people
internalize
that
it.
were bullied,
Hmm.
there's
And
something going on there.
that's just what you do because that's what they've seen in their mind. It's like, well, that's just what happens. I'm here at this level, and now they like you treat people almost like they deserve that when like no one deserves that. It's not good. Like that to me is that's just weird. I mean, I understand the idea of like wanting to be with your friends and like wanting to spend that time with them, but if you're at a social, especially where it's like open to everyone and we care about this dance, not just like the specific, salsa or bachata or West Coast swing or blues or zouk or whatever, but we care about like social dancing as a whole. To grow the whole, if we're all being good ambassadors, it will happen naturally. But if we're people who are just really exclusive or really elitist or we're looking down on people, there's a certain kind of person we're going to attract. And I can guarantee it's not the kind of person that we want to keep, you know? So yeah, I wouldn't. I don't like that. Not a
Wise
fan of
words.
that.
Yeah, and you know the thing about people that are in cliques, a lot of times it's like that group mentality, or they agree, and I think that this is natural of humans where we agree about the same things. You know, there's not someone being like, "Hey, have you ever thought that our group might be XYZ?"
Mhm.
Or another thing I'll say is like
Have
when
you ever
those
thought that we might not be good people? Like, is that
do you think we're mean? But I remember someone being like, "Oh yeah, no, they're nice. They're really nice people." And I'm like, "Yeah, because you're friends with them. You're
Yeah.
in the clique." And I
Mhm.
think when you're in the clique, you don't see that from the outside in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's you can tell a lot through body language and it's a look.
Mhm.
Man,
Like
sometimes I'm like, look, if y'all just want to dance each other, go have a house party. You know, like you said, dance socials for everyone. And I've been given that look where you get close to their circle, like you're kind of like walking nearby to be like, maybe I might ask someone, and they do like the look up and down.
mhm.
Oh,
Oh
oh,
my
did
goodness.
not feel good. It did not
Oof.
feel good.
That
But
is yeah.
yeah, and it's subconscious sometimes, but it's one of those things where like, oh, I caught that. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm just gonna go to the other corner of the room now and dance with someone else.
No. Oh my so my I have a really petty side that comes out sometimes. Well, tiny petty side, right? And I remember being at a place actually. It was the last time I danced at this place. I won't say the place though, but you probably know. I won't say it. And I'm there for a little bit. I was actually there for another lesson because they had the lesson upstairs and the different style upstairs. So I was upstairs for the different style. I came downstairs because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna dip my, I like to mix it up a little bit. And so I go down there and I see someone sit down and like I saw them dance earlier. I was like, oh yeah, she's pretty good. So I like asked her to dance, and she's just like, no, no, thank you. This and that. And I was like, oh, okay. But it wasn't just like the no, it was the way that she said no. Now, granted, I did earlier just say that your no is enough, and I stand by that. But again, I have a little bit of a petty side. And I was like, because I'm dressed down, I'm wearing the, t-shirt and jeans. I'm not, my hair's not super greasy and slicked back. I'm not wearing an open shirt with a chain down the middle and my chest hairs is all out. So I'm like, okay, maybe she thinks I don't know what I'm doing. All right, cool. So I have a dance with somebody who just like good energy, good vibe, good feel. And so I asked her a question. I forget what it was, but something to the effect of like, do you know any other styles? She's like, yes. I said, great. So we start blending a little bit. So that means it's more than just the dance here, but it looked good. It felt like it just like we clicked, and I was like, okay. So we did another one, even more, just boom, boom, boom. We're hitting the different parts of the song, and I mean, it was good. Okay, it was good. And so, we're like, oh, that was so great. Oh, wow, thank you, thank you. I'm getting ready to leave, right? I'm getting ready to head out. And standing right in front of me is the person who was like, oh, I'm not dancing. I'm done dancing. Like, they're like, oh, I'm done. They're like, to dance? I was like, oh, now you want to dance. Like, now you won't type thing. Like, man, if you don't get out my face. No, I didn't say that. I danced with that.
I was gonna say, did you really say that?
I wish the petty part of me wanted to, but I was like, I think we'll dance.
I think it would have been fine if you're just like very Caitlin of you to be like, oh, so now you want to dance.
I look, I was
Just
right
that and
there.
keep at that. Just keep at that.
I'm like, I'm good. I would, but I'm also like, man, I gotta be a whole Christian out here. I can't be acting crazy with a little Jesus thing around my neck. People are gonna be like, oh, these Christians suck. They're the worst. I'm like, I'm like,
Now
no. So I was like, okay, okay, okay. I guess we'll dance, right? And
fine.
it was good. It was good, but it wasn't like I wasn't like I'm not gonna do all the stuff I just did with this person with you, especially because like I'm like we'll have a good dance. We'll have a solid dance, but I'm
Right.
not gonna, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to impress you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um,
It's like, yeah, the energy you start off with. If you're giving someone that energy, it's why would they want to even? It's like if I said to you, "Oh, do you want to come to my dinner party?" But it sounds, but I said to you in not a great way. You're going to show up at my
mhm,
dinner party not your
mm,
best self,
yeah,
and that itself is already starting off on like a not a on a bad foot, but just like a wobbly foot.
yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, like, am I trying to impress you? Is that what is
Yeah. Am I
is that
supposed to
just a
show up
word?
happy, or am I supposed to show up like just low key?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Energy and vibe. It really makes a huge difference. So, what do you think are ways? Okay. So, you know how you can have a group of friends, right? Because you're just like, yo, we know each other for like a year now. So, we just normally gravitate to each other on the sidelines and stuff like, hey, what's up? How do you think people like that, or just people in general, be more ways they can be inclusive when they see someone that's new?
Oh, you know what? I have a really good friend who on the East Coast is really good at this. I'll name him. Yo, shout out Cody. So he's a he'll know if he listens, which he better be listening. Uh, but he and I have had this conversation where he talks about how even though he's not necessarily like an event planner or something. He's someone who's been around for a long time, and he and I have this conversation about like making people who are new feel welcome. And he's one of the people who I've seen literally make it a point to say, "Oh, that's a new face. I'm gonna boom." He'll go up to them, ask them to dance, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's something that I see that I'm like, this is a very real, tangible way to make people who are newer feel comfortable, feel like they're welcome. Like your skill level shouldn't determine if you get to be part of the group. And if you're getting better, great. That's awesome and we love that. But like if you're new, you should still be able to have a good time. And I think people like some of us who are, we've been around for a little bit, we have more experience, or like, we kind of have our grooves in our pockets. I think if we're encouraging each other to like, oh, that's a new person, you should dance with them. Like you and I have done that where we'll dance with someone new and we're like, oh, boom, you should dance with this person. Or like we'll have someone be like, oh, you should go, we'll try to like refer people to
It's
people.
like dance matchmaking.
No, but yeah, it's like that. Like even if they're not necessarily good or they're not like they don't have a lot of experience, right? Like they should still
Yeah,
be able to
yeah.
have
I'm
fun.
starting to
You should
remember him
still
now.
be like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
dance with this
Usually,
person, dance with
yeah, it's
that
their
one."
first time. Usually it's like, hey, Kaylin, you want to dance with this person? It's their first time. And
Mhm,
I
mhm.
think it's a quick, like,
It's like,
exactly.
"Ooh, it's their first time. All right, bet."
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. Yeah. Um, I think usually, sometimes people stay in a circle and they're just chatting away, like, oh, what's
Mhm.
up with you? Blah, blah, blah. I had this past week where it was me and like three other people. They happened to be talking about video games. So I'm like, all right, I'll pay attention, but half my brain is zoning out.
Oh,
And then another guy came up and he just came late and he just kind of, when someone's joining the circle and they're kind of trying to figure out what the conversation's about, and they're kind of listening in. And that's where I just looked over to him. I was like, oh, by the way, they're talking about video games because that way allows them to like want to add input to it if they want to,
yeah.
instead of just have good like, oh, you came late, so good luck trying to fit into the
Mhm,
conversation,
mhm.
right? And it's little tweaks like that where, or allowing someone to come into the circle, like standing within the circle instead of like you're back facing them, be like, you shall not pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where I think like even with with the nose, right? Like the nonverbal cues, not returning eye contact or kind of orienting your body away.
Yes.
There's also like opening your body or making eye contact or even like a small nod or smile, like when people are trying to join in the circle. Because again, we want people to feel welcome, and that doesn't mean that you should just try to, and I'm trying to be mindful of like how I say this. It doesn't mean like you're just trying to like people please the entire time, but you are there to be part of a group, to be part of a collective. And so like having an attitude that says, okay, maybe this is not what I want to do, but I would want this for me is so I'm gonna open up. Like I think having that sort of attitude makes it so that I think like even if we'll just say it's slight inconvenience, it's like, oh, this takes 5% of my energy, the return is so much more because it's not just you that is contributing to that return. It's like everyone as a group is contributing to it. Everyone feels welcomed. And so that hits you in a way that you may not expect when you're just hanging out and doing things.
It's funny, there's a fine line because I can see us doing this. It's like where when you have people in a conversation, you want them to feel included, especially the quieter people. And so sometimes you'll ask questions to kind of get them to join in the conversation. But sometimes have to be like, you have to kind of read the room because sometimes it might be overwhelming for them being like, oh no, I'm being interrogated by Trang.
Yeah, yeah. That
When I'm like, I'm just trying to make you feel included. What do you think about this? What
yeah,
do you think about
yeah.
that? Where there's like such a fine balance. Or even when you said, oh, there's a new person, I'm gonna beeline it to them. Like
Mhm.
imagine seeing
Like
Caitlin running towards you and you're like, oh no, what, who is this
it's
man?
oh my no, okay, it's kind of funny, but like I've had that happen a couple times where like I'll go to
No.
someone and they're just like, and like I had to realize I'm like, oh, maybe I'm doing too much. Where I'm just like, hey, how you doing? Blah blah blah. Just trying to be like super welcoming, and then I'm like, I'm coming on too strong. I gotta like
Yeah, yeah.
dial it back.
You're also like,
This
you're
is
also
scaring them.
you're a big dude.
Like,
Like maybe I could do it because I'm like a tiny person and be like,
hey,
oh
wait,
no,
I'm big. Hey, y'all heard it here first, folks. I am officially big. I've made it. I am the smallest of my brothers. So officially. I just wanna, like, take a moment to accept that. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Trang. We're here. We made it.
With your size, you c maybe
Mhm.
it could be intimidating, yeah. So you could probably do a chill approach, and I'm more of like the, "Hi, welcome," bubbly person. But yeah, it really is reading the room of like you're trying your hardest, but you're trying not to overwhelm them
Mhm.
and stuff like that. And ask them questions, maybe like things like what brought you here? How'd you find out about us? Things
Yeah.
that are like open-ended questions that like anyone can
Mhm.
answer.
Yeah.
Um, and I think the thing about cliques sometimes, or not cliques, but groups of people is sometimes they'll start talking to one person like 80% of the time, you know? And when there's a newcomer or just people that are fairly new or they've been there a little bit, inclusive part is where you kinda make sure, like, everyone gets talked to instead of
Mhm.
like, "Oh, there's this person I really like or I really admire them, and I'm just gonna talk to them all the time." It's like, you can, but there's other people too. So I think that's the part where, people can help in making people feel inclusive. But or even saying like, "Hey, have you heard about this class? Have you heard about this other, I don't know, dance social and stuff like that? You should come out." It's not saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna invite you to my birthday party," and stuff like that, because sometimes I know people are specific about that, but it's just things that are open to the public. Because a lot of times
Yeah.
when people come, they don't this is like one event they heard about, and then there's so many other events they don't know about. So that's like a good way to make them feel welcome. Just like, "You should
Mhm.
come. A few of us are gonna be there," or a few of us usually go to that, and it's like
Yeah.
good vibes. We usually have fun.
Mhm.
And, just I think humans, whether they like to admit it or not, like to be invited to things even if they know they're not gonna go.
Yeah, that's true. That we like to know that the option is there, even
Yes.
if we know it's not realistic for us to actually do it. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And, I also think there's, like, some people who I think are maybe standoffish or kinda clicky, but not because they are like, they wanna reject people, but maybe there's, like, they're not as maybe they're, like, kinda introverted, and so, like, they don't want to share their energy with everyone because
Right.
they're not sure. But I think they're my 3, like, go-to questions are, "Where do you dance? What do you dance? And how long have you danced?" And, like, just having those kind of questions, like, armed, you might find, "Oh, we have the same kind of, like, trajectory," or, like, "We have the same, like, we go to the same places," or, "Oh," and then from there, it's, "Oh, do you know this person? Or do you know that person?" Right? Like, finding those different points of connection, those similarities, or even, you might find that you have something in common outside of the dance, and you're like, "Wow, not only did I get to know this person, but, like, maybe I made a friend outside of just this. They also like rock climbing or, they're
Ooh,
also into, I don't know, like, video
board games.
games or
Yeah.
board games, right? Like, you start finding that you have these other things in common, like, "Oh, we have the same taste in music," or, "We have the same," you know?
Have you gone to this festival, etcetera?
Yeah, like,
Mhm.
you might find that you have people who you've crossed paths with, and you had no idea that you guys were even in the same whatever, but because you had that conversation, you're like, "Oh, wow, cool," and you just, bridge the gap.
Yeah. There are many times where I look back, I'm like, "I can't believe we were in the same room, and we
Mhm.
just didn't know each other yet," you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, I'm like, "I'm dancing, so I don't actually I'm here to dance, so
Same.
I don't, like, get to talk to people on the sidelines." It's only and that's
Yeah.
where I think why I love the community potluck that Fusion Vibe hosted. But that was perfect, the community, potluck because we people were dancing, but it had such a casual it was held in the park, right? So you could eat, there's like, if you wanna eat and just chill and talk, you can. If you wanna dance to your heart's content, you can. But it allowed people to feel okay to take a break, I
Yeah.
think, and just hang on the sidelines and, chat away with people. And if you enjoyed this episode, please share with a friend, give us a follow and 5-star rating on Apple and Spotify so it gets our podcast out there. And check us out on social media at Fusion Dance Podcast. Also, there is a resource. It's a list of all the places to go social dancing here in LA. That's in the show notes. Thank you for being here with us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.